Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Successful Black Love Podcast with your host, D, aka Black Love. I'm here with my brother from another mother, aka Big Head. But I like to call him Lederric. What's up, man?
Hey, everything's good. Thanks for having me on your podcast. I really appreciate it, man.
No problem. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, sir, indeed. I've been following you for a while now, and I just really enjoy your content. I really appreciate what you're doing for the community, man. Keep it up, brother.
Appreciate that. Much love, much respect. So how was your night?
Good. As you know, I've been working a lot. I got a few things happening pretty soon in the near future. Excited, a little nervous, but all positive things, as you know. And so I'm just excited to get into the topic that we have tonight. Hopefully I can share a little insight. I wouldn't say I'm the guru. I would say I'm more the person to tell you what not to do, because I always do things wrong. So, yeah. You agree?
Okay.
I always do things wrong.
Yeah, I can attest to that. But no, you good, man. Let's go ahead and get into tonight's topic. Go ahead and you know what? Before we do that, I didn't give you a proper introduction. That's my bad. You know, it's proper etiquette skills to properly invite your guests. So, audience, let's go ahead and give a hand clap. But anyway, anyway, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and get into tonight's topic: red flags. We're talking about red flags. So, Derek, what would you say is a red flag when dating?
This is a good conversation to have because I feel like not many people think about red flags when it comes to dating a lot. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes we get so caught up in not wanting to be alone. Sometimes we get caught up in the feelings of being around someone that we kind of ignore red flags. And so talking about it, thinking about it kind of is a good thing, I would say. So I would say, starting off with that question, red flag in relationships is just paying attention to their intentions. Intentions, I think, is very important when it comes to dating, because everybody has intentions. You know what I'm saying? You want to make sure your intentions match with their intentions. And so if their actions are speaking kind of differently than what you're looking for, and those quote unquote are red flags. You know, my red flag may be different from someone else's. It should be all based on the intentions. If it's co-aligning with what you have, green flags. If they're not co-aligning, red flags. I think that's kind of like the gist of what a red flag is.
Yeah, and I like what you said there, that your intentions should align. When dating, it should be intentional. It should never be a question of, you know, does this person have good intentions, or are they really just using me? Things of that nature. You know, you want to have purposeful intent when you're involved in dating someone. You can never go in blind, you know. So next question: are all red flags bad?
Now, you know, naturally, when you think red flags, you think of it being something of a bad thing. Are all red flags bad? I'm gonna take a different route with this question and say no. The reason why I say no is because sometimes red flags can end up being lessons. You know, sometimes you think, well, that's not a big deal. He smokes, that's not a big deal. Or the way he treats his mom, it's an inside joke. I don't think he really means it. Sometimes those red flags that you may ignore can end up being lessons down the road. And lessons are always good things, because then it teaches you, oh, okay, I am not paying attention to what I need to be paying attention to. It can teach you a lot of things. So, red flags in a way can be a good thing if you learn from them. Now, some people, they get into a cycle. You know about that. I know about that. I've been in cycles too. I know that sometimes you can end up finding yourself dating a certain type, constantly dating a certain type. And I think it's good to be transparent on like conversations like these. That way, you get a really good, a good conversation, and people are listening in, tuning in. For me, I noticed one of my types that I was dating was the dependable type, because I have a hero complex, if that makes sense. I always want to be the guy that swoops in and save the day. And so, exactly. So because of that, I noticed I was dating certain type of women, and that you can find yourself in a cycle, and that's not always a good thing, especially if you're trying to grow yourself. If you're constantly doing the same stuff, you can't grow. You need someone that pushes you to grow, to be better. And the people I was dating, they weren't people that were helping me. I was helping them. And so it's lessons. There's lessons that can be learned in red flags for sure.
Right. Now, with you saying that, I'm gonna go on a different route too. So do you think flags have levels to it? So do you think there's green flags, yellow flags, red flags? What level do you think flags have?
I think there can be levels only because people change. Right. No one really stays the same. And that's the reason why that's life. And so for those that are listening, like I said early in the conversation, as I was joking, it's true. I don't consider myself a guru. I'm not a counselor, but I have been in several relationships. I have seen a lot of ups and downs, dealt with a lot of heartbreaks. I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there have. But I think what kind of separates me from the rest is that I have been growing and learning and taking each lesson and building on that. And I think what separates me is that I'm very open about the things I've been through. Some people, when they get through a heartbreak, they heartbreak inside and they let it just eat them up inside. So for anybody that's listening, I hope that, you give me a chance to maybe spit some wisdom, just because I'm an open-minded person. I'm open book, and I like to let people learn from what I do or the things that I've done that I probably shouldn't have done. But back to the question, it's just like people change, like someone that used to do something that was maybe considered a red flag is not maybe a yellow flag because they're working on their issues. But if they keep showing the same red flag, it's time to probably consider other options. You want to see progress or progression when it comes to a relationship, any kind of relationship, honestly.
So let me piggyback off that question. So with the levels, would you say that green is like green means go, permitted behavior, yellow means proceed with caution, or then red means danger zone, like a stoplights. You think there are stoplights in relationships?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Devontae. I really think you hit it on the nail with that one. Sometimes you can be unsure with things, which could be that yellow, that kind of like that. I don't really know how to feel about this situation. And so a wise person will allow time to kind of, let things play out. A lot of times, like I said, we can get super invested right away because of our feelings. Sometimes we just desperately maybe want a companion, or maybe we are allowing like, sometimes I know guys, maybe even girls. I know girls that or guys that have jumped into things right away simply because of their desire for a physical need to be met. You know what I'm saying? But those yellow flags, those perceived conscious are important. If you don't take your time, you could end up, ignoring or missing something. You know what I'm saying? So I think yellow flags are just as important as seeing the green and the red ones.
Right. Now I'm gonna go a little deeper. Do you think you've been someone's red flag?
Oh, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
It would be foolish to think we are all green flags. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody wants to be, well, I can't say everybody, but I know for me, I always wanted to be the good guy. You know what I'm saying? I always wanted to be, the guy people looked up to. And also I always had like some kind of point I wanted to prove, like, hey, look at me. I found love, and I'm the example of that love is real. But jokes is on me because, in life, sometimes things don't go your way. And then I end up going through relationships that I felt like embarrassed me. I felt like that put me on the spot. I wanted to be that guy that showed everybody, hey, look, I made love work. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, I was failing at it miserably. You know what I'm saying? And the only way you can actually win and succeed in love is by facing your own red flags. But many times people, will ignore their red flags because they don't want to face themselves, and they're holding themselves back from finding true love. One of my red flags that I know about myself is that I allow my desire for physical intimacy take too much of a priority. You know what I'm saying? When I meet a girl, and if I'm really feeling her, I'm one of those type of people that, marriage, you want to wait till marriage. You got the wrong one. You know what I'm saying? You got the wrong guy. But sometimes taking your time, taking it slow is what's needed. That's not everybody's style. I know we live in a time where, like, marriage is 50-50. You could happen, could not. Not everybody wants that. That's not everybody's goal. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's trying to take their time with those things. You feel me? But I noticed for me, it was a red flag. You know what I'm saying? I noticed for me, it was causing me to maybe have feelings too soon for a person, or too deep for a person that I shouldn't have yet. Things like that. So it's good to kind of like look at your own red flags and figure out where did they come from, where does it stem from, and then try to solve it from the root. Many times we try to ignore it or put a Band-Aid on it. But no, you got to get to the root of that thing and figure out, how can I get rid of these red flags that I got?
Right. I just wanted to point out what you said about marriage being 50-50. I know, like, nowadays, people have this idea of like, well, I put in 50% in the marriage, you put in the other 50, and we're gonna meet halfway. But why should it be like that? We should always go in with the intention of giving our all, like 1,000% on both parties, And I feel like
Exactly.
in the beginning of relationships, sometimes lines get blurred. We forget that, we date and we're dating, but we're doing everything in the relationship as a married couple would in the beginning. But then once we get into a marriage, and we are falling apart. But if we go in with the right mindset, then I feel like things would, take a turn for the better, But
Exactly.
that was just that brief point. But one thing I did want to ask you: if someone you're interested in, if they have a red flag that you notice, and they're willing to work on the red flag, would you give them a chance?
Yes. Now, my reasons may be different from other people's reasons, but the reason why I believe in giving people a chance to work on themselves is because I know the feeling of rejection way too well. When someone judged you before you had a chance to blossom and become who you are, who you are able to become. I just know that feeling way too well. Honestly, the root of rejection that started when I was young overflowed into my decision making as an adult, of how like I approach relationships, approach women, how sometimes I would go above and beyond. I was that simp. I used to hate that word. My friends used to call me a simp, and I was like, I'm not a simp. But I had some simp qualities. I had some simp tendencies where I would, go out all out on dates sometimes just because I was afraid to get rejected. I was afraid. I wanted to show them like, hey, I'm worth their time. So because of that feeling, I believe wholeheartedly to be honest and transparent, of course, about, hey, I noticed this, and I think this is something that we should talk about and work on. You gotta talk about it. Communication is key. And then after that, give them a chance to work on it. You know what I'm saying? Give them a chance. Assist, help. If you can't tell somebody, hey, I think you need to change this, and not actually be a partner in the situation while walking with them to help them, grow. Everybody needs help from time to time. So helping someone from babying them. I want to make that a quick point. I'm not saying you should hate somebody, and constantly feed them what they need to do to be a better person. But if someone is, having a bad day, or need maybe a little help with guidance, or just a little point in the right direction, could be all that the person might need, So.
Right. So don't patty cake someone. Just encourage and uplift. That's dope. Yeah. So can you give some personal scenarios or situation of a situation or situation been in like this?
Yeah. We about to go there. All right, we about to go there. Personal experiences. Yeah. All right. So, let's see. I was in a relationship where I was dating this girl for a while, and things didn't work out. We ended up, breaking up and going our separate ways. And then we end up about a few months later coming back together. And I noticed that, when we came back together, we ended up having to do a long distance relationship, because when we decided to try things again, she was in one state, I was in another state. And so we still wanted to try. And so we just said, let's do a long distance relationship. So that's what the situation was at the time. But, there were some things that I noticed with her that I was like, I see that it's holding her back. It was red flags that was, affecting me, but also holding her back from being the best that she could be. And we talked about it. She was dealing with a lot of depression. She didn't like where she was. She didn't like her job and things like that. And so a lot of times when we're on the phone, she's, venting to me like, this employer today did this, yada, yada, yada. And then she's, telling me like how, she's dealing with kind of like physical pains and things like that. And that's trying to be a good boyfriend. I'm listening, I'm trying to talk her through it. I'm trying to be supportive, show her love. And, even, as men, we tend to a lot of times try to, be the solution to it, to problems, And so sometimes women just want you to listen. So there was nights where I will listen, and there was nights where I'm like, well, I don't want you to keep going through this. Maybe you should try this. Maybe you should try that. But all the recommendations, the suggestions I was making, she was letting me go in one ear and out the other, it seemed. And so this is not like I said, I'm telling you things that I'm the guy of what you shouldn't do, basically. So it got to the point where I feel like, oh, she's not even listening to me. You know what I'm saying? She why am I even bothering to continue in this relationship? And so I ended up, cutting it quits. I'm like, it's on my hands. I try my best. I'm trying to help you with, with the depression and who you should maybe talk to, what you should probably consider to do better. And you're not listening. So it's on my hands, right? Let it go. And it hurt her. It hurt her a lot, hurt her heart. But I was moving on, you know what I'm saying? I started moving on. But the lesson is that if I would have just gave it more time, if I would have made a little bit of sacrifice, maybe that could have became something that I always wanted, the relationship that I always wanted. Because down the road, when I looking back, I'm like seeing her progress, right? Her progress that she made without me, and I'm like, wow, I'm astonished. I'm like jaw dropping, like, oh my goodness, like you look great. You're looking great. You're talking great. You're glowing, your skin glowing, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm over here like, did I just miss out on an amazing opportunity just because I didn't continue just being the support she needed, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes if we just stick through the long haul a little bit longer, the things that, that we think could maybe never have happened could happen if we just, have a little bit more patience, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Time is our most precious asset, and sometimes we take it for granted. People that we feel like we're compatible with, and we don't give enough time to stick things through. And if we put in more time and effort into relationships, into sticking the course, there'll be a lot more happy couples. There'll be a lot more couples staying together. So yeah. So let me ask you. Tell the audience where they can find you.
Yes. So you can find me on IG, Facebook. Don't got a Twitter yet, but I'm pretty lame. I'm pretty simple. I'm straightforward. My name is Lederric Sims. Both IG and Facebook. Pretty government. So Lederric is spelled Lederric. Sims, Sims. My IG is open to the public. Anybody can follow me. You can watch reels that I thought I was funny in, but probably not. You can shoot me a DM if you want to talk, connect. I take, pride in being that guy that I feel like anybody can talk to. So people out there that may need someone to talk to, feel free to hit me up on social media for sure.
Yeah, this brother is the lamest brother I know. So just kidding. Let's end with a quote. This powerful quote I found from Pinterest, actually.
Okay.
All red flags I ignored. I was torn between loving you and myself. So that's that. I thank you, brother, for coming on the show. We had a good time, good laughs. As always, you guys can find me on Instagram at the Bob Boutiquer _30. You can find me on Facebook at Devontae Chapman. You can find me on TikTok at Author in Love for and YouTube as well. Okay. Thank you for coming on. Thank you guys for listening and watching the show and supporting your boy. Also, I will be speaking at S02E this December. I have a speaking engagement as well as a book coming out called The Inner Alliance. Check that out. Look on the lookout for that. I also have a merch store. That's the Vibe. No, not the Vibe. Vibe Central Boutique. So be on the lookout for that, guys. I thank you guys for listening, supporting, and watching. Until next time.
Yes. Till next time. Appreciate you, Devontae.
All right. Thank you, man.